Hey Drainers, it's Strider. I did a cover of ECCO2K's Peroxide, and we're gonna go over it right now. If you like this, like, comment, subscribe for more tutorials or something. I don't know, fuck. We're gonna go over ECCO2K's Peroxide. We made a lot of things. There's probably like 26 tracks just to make the instrumental itself. I'm gonna go through how I did it, like layer by layer or instrument by instrument. You're gonna see exactly what I did to make it sound as close as I could possibly get to ECCO2K's Peroxide. I felt like I got as close as I could get to it without spending like hours and hours fine-tuning a lot of random details. And a lot of times when you get into these beats, there's so many random things that happen when you're producing that you just kind of roll with it, and you'll never be able to really figure out how to make every single detail sound exactly like it. But I feel like I got pretty close, so I'm pretty happy about that. Let's go through it, let's take a listen, and then we'll go over the actual beat, okay? If you are enjoying this content, like and comment and subscribe. Also be sure to follow me on Twitch. I'm doing a lot of live streaming, a lot of music production, so be sure to check me out on there. Follow me. I'll put my links in the description so you can give me a follow. All right, thanks so much. Let's get into it. Cool. Let's do a breakdown, like instrument by instrument, sound by sound, about how I made this instrumental. So the first thing that I have is this like growing subwoofer sound that comes into the intro. It sounds really cool. It kind of like grows over time. Usually you have like a slow attack on a sine wave. That's basically what I did. So this is just Serum. You could even do operator if you're just using Ableton's like stock plugins. I just did analog BD sine. I took it down an octave, but you could just play whatever note you feel like you want it to be. And I just had it grow like over time using a very slow attack. So I put 5.31 seconds on the attack, and that's really all I did. There's nothing else on the effects. I put a little saturator on here at 3.43 dB, and the bass is at 13.1 just to give it a little more life. All this stuff is kind of irrelevant, so we can delete this. Also, this is at 165 BPM and the key is C major. So if you want to recreate this on your own, that's what key it's in, that's what BPM it's at right now. The next thing that I did was some strings, and this is how I made like the pad that kind of grows. So this is what it sounds like. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit so you can see how it kind of grows. Okay, so this is actually not as complicated as it sounds. I actually just used a string pad that I made in Serum, and then I used some filtering as well as some chorus effects and a little bit of saturation on there. Then I layered it 3 times to get the desired effect, and that's basically it. So the way that I made this was going to Basic Mini in Serum for the first oscillator, and I had the unison set to 9, and then I had it detuned just a little bit. So I had it detuned to about 0.13. And then the levels pretty much the same, and then I had an acid oscillator on oscillator B, and I had the unison up to 5, and I detuned this as well. I actually moved the wavetable position to 193, and then that's pretty much about it. There's no effects except for this hyperdimension effect that I have on here, which I don't even think is being used. It looks like the mix is already all the way down. I had the attack at 1.31 seconds on the top layer. So that's what that sounds like. You can hear it on its own like this. As you can tell, it's kind of distorted because you want to get some of those tones to come out a little bit. That's where the saturator comes in. And whenever you want to distort something, you could turn the bass up to 22.9 or so, or 23. I had the drive at 4.57. I also added some chorus on it to give it a little more, like, make it kind of mesh a little more, I guess. That's the best way I can say it. So the feedback's at 28%, 35% dry wet. And then I had an auto filter on here as well with some automation. So I have the automation set so it slowly grows over time like this, and then it's a little more present right here. And then in the second half where the beat kind of comes back in, I don't have it really doing anything at all, just kind of where it was. If you ever want to go in between your automation and your non-automation stuff, just hit the A key, and that should toggle in between your automation and your like session view, if I'm saying that right. The second one that I did, I made a saw string that sounds like this. Here, I'll go to like the part where it kind of builds a little more. So this is what this sounds like. It's kind of the meat of the entire saw pad. We have another layer under here that sounds like this. Pretty much the same thing, just like another layer. And then this one, just a little bit different. But together it makes it sound very full. So I like doing that. I have the first oscillator A on BS2 Filthy. I don't know where I got it. I think it might be, it's actually under analog, so that's cool. And then MB Saw, that's under analog as well. So you can find that like right down there. And I had this one at the unison at 9, and then I had it detuned to 0.14, and then I had the unison to 5 on this one. And I had the wavetable position at 193. So it's like the same thing I did. I basically went to this, I duplicated it, and I tried some different waveforms to like mix up the sounds a little bit. Same kind of automation on the filter, except this one like goes up a little more when it's building, and then it goes back down right here. So you can hear what it sounds like when it goes back down. That's how they get that kind of decrescendo effect, which is really cool. And then I have it building over here as well. Same thing with under here, and then on the bottom one, pretty much the same thing as well. So it's pretty much just layering. And then I have no EQing on here, no reverb or compression or anything. It's just kind of what I have in all my default live sets. On the bottom one, this is what I have over here. So if we open up Serum, I have the exact same plugin, the synth that I made, but I EQ'd it a little more. And I also added, looks like I added some saturator. No, that saturator is already in there. So this is pretty much the same as well. I just added some more EQing so it sounds a little bit different. You get some accents and stuff in some areas where you wouldn't otherwise. So that just kind of beefs it up a little bit. And then the one on the bottom, let's check this one out. Saturator's off on this one. I didn't want any distortion, so we can just get rid of that. And then I just have one oscillator. It's a pulse width modulator Genji. So this is an analog as well, so anybody who has Serum can use this too. The unison set to 8, detuned to 0.09. And the attack is actually really quick on this one. It's 0.5 milliseconds. So this one sounds like this. Let's play it really quick. I wanted this one to not like creep up like the other ones. I wanted to have a little more presence per se. If you've noticed, I have like these chords up here as well are like kind of high. And then I have them like doubled, and I have it like down an octave essentially. If you ever want to like get your chords to sound more full as it grows over time, you can select all of these, and then you can hit Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac, and then Command or Control V, and then that'll paste the notes. And then you could hold shift and press down, and that'll bring it down an octave, and it'll keep going down as many octaves as you want. So you can like octave your chords that way. And that's what I did to get a more full sound in here. That goes over the pads. The only thing else I have on here is like a little bit of EQing and just to like roll off some of the highs. And I actually put an imager on here just to bring out some of the fullness in like this band right here, between 120 hertz and 2000 kilohertz. So that's the only thing I think that is like left out from here. But otherwise, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and that's how I made that. The pluck, which is what sounds like this. Here, we can play this. This is like the main thing that you hear when the beat drops. I'll let you take a look at the Midi here. I'm not going to spend too much time going over this. I basically just stayed in C major and I tried to play whatever notes I could hear from it. I know there's not like an official instrumental, so I tried to just match it as close as possible. So forgive me if I hit any wrong notes or anything like that, but I think I got it pretty close. The way that they do it is really interesting too. It seems like there's a delay on it, there's some panning, there's a lot of layering going on. So I got it as close as I could. I noticed a little bit of it in the buildup too, so I have it in the buildup, but I have everything like heavily filtered. So you can see these filters, the frequencies like all the way down here. So you don't really hear a whole lot of stuff, but like you can sort of hear it. Yeah, it's like making a little bit of noise. It's nothing too crazy though. The way that I did this was I had 3 layers. This one right here has kind of a slow attack. So this one does not have like a really quick attack. It's at 30 milliseconds. And the decay is at 2.81. And the overall, I use like just like the basic like stock oscillators on here. But one of the unisons is at 8. And then I have it detuned to 0.11. I don't have anything else really special on here, no effects or anything like that. I added that all in Ableton because I wanted you guys to be able to do it if you don't have Serum. If you're using like a stock synth or something, like an operator or something, you can do this too. So these are essentially just like little saw waves, I believe. And then you can do different effects, like I have some compression on here, ratios at 1.35, attacks at 1.27. I do that because I want it to be kind of quick and just come in really quick. I don't want to do a whole lot of stuff. I EQ'd out this part right at 825 hertz, and I brought the gain down like -5 or -6, and then I brought the highs up a little more. I do have a delay on here. I set it to fade, and then I set it to ping pong. Dry wet's at 33%, feedback's at 27%, and I have it on 2, and I have the left and right on sync. And then, of course, I added saturator at the end, so you can see what I did right here. The saturator, I just put the bass to 30.9 to give it some distortion, and 5.06 dB for the saturator drive. So that was the first layer. Second layer is going to be pretty similar. Let's listen to this. Okay. Now you notice not all the notes are being hit. That's because I have a gate at the very top to just stop any excess bleeding. So that's why you may not hear every single note. And this is like EQ'd out to like crazy amounts. So this is at 1.94 kilohertz. I high passed this pretty heavily, and I pushed up some of these highs in here as well. I have the compressor right here too. That's going to be about the same as last. Auto filter is the same as well. If we look at all the different auto filter modulation, this is all the same. Delay I took off so we can delete that. Saturator's also the same. The only thing that's really different about this is the fact that I EQ'd out everything, and then the attack is 4.2 milliseconds. So that way it hits like instantaneously. I felt like I heard some little plucks in the background and stuff, so that's what I did. This is the last layer right here, or second to last layer. We'll get to the very last soon. This is the same as the top layer, but I have it EQ'd out like most of the highs, so 352 hertz, and then I scooped it down here at 825 too, and then I put a delay on here. I have it like heavily delayed, so the dry wet's at 67%, feedback's at 59%. I have it set to fade, ping pong, and 1. Okay? No saturation on this one. I just want it to be like the background delay sort of stuff. And then I noticed it was panning back and forth a little bit. So I took everything in this group and then I made an audio track under it. You can do that just by pressing Control-T. And then I routed all the audio from where was it? 9 group. So I'll hit number 9, go to the 9 group. And then I actually armed this track so it'll record all of the stuff coming through here. So that way I can just record this by hitting R or hitting record. And then I took that audio, I'll just delete this really quick. I took that audio and then I panned it. So I put auto pan on here, I put the amount to 85.7, the rate to 6.57 hertz, and that way it sounds like this. It just gives it like more panning and stuff, so that way when you hear everything together, it sounds like really full. Okay, now I did roll off a little bit using an auto filter because I'm lazy, and then I added that gate. The threshold's at negative 35.6 dB, and the return's at 3 dB. Attack's pretty much stock, like everything else I didn't touch over here. I added this auto filter as well, just so I can like roll this off at the very end of the beat, so it sounds like this. This is the sub right here. I'll solo both of these so we can hear it. I'll add the kick in there too. Subs are pretty simple, but I feel like this has a very specific type of sub sound. I got as close as I could to it. I just added Serum and I went to BS2 Filthy for the wavetable and then Basic Shapes for the second one. And I played some really low notes, and I also have a filter on here. The filter is MG Low 12, and then cutoff is set to A, and I have the res up here to 61%. Cutoff's at around 67 hertz. That way it's just cutting off any type of frequencies I don't really want to hear. I don't think I have any effects on here, just basic stuff. The wavetable position for BS2 Filthy is set to 82 as well. Yeah, so that's sub 1, and then sub 2 is a preset that I use called 808 Knockers. On its own, it sounds like this. It just gives like a lot of thump to it and like a lot more low end and stuff for these really low notes, which sometimes can be really hard to hear. Like on this one. So I wanted to have like a little more presence in the low end and stuff. And then I added an EQ. I low passed it on band number 8 at like 126. And then I added a little bump right here for band number 2 at around 39 hertz. I also added a kick. I used kick 2 for all my plugins. I EQ'd out the lows. I did a high pass, so that way it doesn't have any like super low end phase cancellation or anything like that. And then I have just the basic preset in here. I just wanted to have like a little extra thump when it comes in. That way you can give the sub some more presence. Hi-hats are super easy. The only thing that I did was I added like a medicine hi-hat sample. We'll just solo this really quick. That's basically the only pattern that I used, and I just switched it up in a few other places. So that's pretty much it, and I like EQ'd, or I use a filter. That way I can have like a little more like, I'm like pinching out the sound a little more with the res set at 36%, and then the frequency is at 7.11 kilohertz right here. The clap I use in here is really simple. Sounds like this. This is the Waka Clap from like the Waka Flocka producer pack that I found like, I don't know, a million years ago. And all I have is an EQ on here. It looks like this. The band number 3 is set to go a little bit lower. I felt like you don't want to have like too much highs on an instrumental sometimes, especially where the snare or the clap is, because it can like conflict with the vocals sometimes. So I've noticed in a lot of tracks they get a little bit quieter, so that's what I did for that. The overall like drop effect, or like the producer tag, I had to make it up myself. It sounds like someone, like a video game where somebody is like grabbing coins or something, or they like get like a bunch of like fairy dust around them or something like that. So I used a wind chime sample, and then I reversed it before the actual drop. So this is what it sounds like. It's pretty cool. So what I did was take a basic wind chime sample, I'll paste it over here, and then I'll unwarp it, and I'll bring it back to the original one so you can hear it. So I transposed that up to 10, like that. And then I actually added some modulation on there on the transposition. So if you go to this clip and then go to transposition and then set it to complex, you can make the pitch go down by setting a couple markers here. I set one right here at 0, and then I set this one at -11, and then you can hear the pitch kind of descending a little bit. So that gives it more of like a fantasy video game kind of vibe to it. And then right before that, I just basically like pasted it, and then I hit reverse using the rev tool right there, and just added right there, and that's how you do it. You'll notice as you're making this beat, it's not feeling like it's totally full. There's some elements that are missing and stuff. So there's these things that I call like the orca sounds, because they sound like orca whales like communicating with each other. I'm gonna solo that for you right here so you can hear it. Now I'll actually turn it up a little bit as well, so you can you can actually hear it a little bit more. So this is pretty fun. You're probably wondering like, how the hell did I make this sound? I used my own voice. I actually recorded myself singing like, ah, but like, I like did like, oh. My voice is really bad right now, but I basically recorded it and then I resampled it right here. So you can hear the original sample. It sounds like this. This is the sample right down here. So I took this, and if we go to this channel down here, I'll show you all my processing. This is what it sounds like with processing on. So I took an EQ band and I scooped out this little area around 639 hertz. I felt like it was kind of conflicting. And then I brought up the highs a little bit. I added saturator with some bass to add some more distortion at 30.9, drives at 13.7. I also added an amp tool to give some like really good distortion, and I set it to bass. I didn't really touch it other than that. And then I added this reverb right here called YR7 Large Hall. I set the dry wet to 59.4, and then I added erosion. I set it to sine, and then I put the little circle like right around here. So the frequency is 1.37, the amount's 26.8. Okay? Now, after I made this, I resampled it into this area right here. So using that trick earlier with the plucks, I did the same thing for these orca sounds, and I added even more processing. So I added a delay on here, and then I added some more reverb. I did the dry wet at like 55%. This is pretty much just like throwing the reverb in there and not really touching it. Same thing with this one below over here. So I just threw a delay in there, threw a reverb in there, and then I grouped it all together, and then I added some more processing right here. As you can see, I kind of like did like a band pass. This part right here is bringing it down a lot, and then this little area is bringing it up, and I added some more erosion, and you can see where the circle is right here. So the amount's 77.4, frequency is 4.2, and then saturator, the drive is at 24%, and the bass is at 36. So there's a lot of distortion on here, and it really sounds like it came out of like an old video game or something. So this is what it sounds like now. Pretty cool stuff. Took me a while to kind of like figure out what they were doing there or try to make something similar, but I had a lot of fun doing that. Next thing I did, I threw in some ocean sound effects. I didn't do a whole lot other than high pass it, add some saturator, and a little bit of erosion over here. You don't have to do this, but I just felt like it would make the beat sound a little more full. And then for the producer tag, or whatever it is before it drops, this is what it sounds like right here. So I actually recorded myself, and I transposed it up like 9 steps, and then this one over here is like 5. If I actually just like undo it, you'll just hear my actual voice. I have it EQ'd out, so high pass a little bit, some reverb at 51%, decay times at 3.02, OTT as well. I added, I took the highs down from like, normally it's at like 10, I brought it down to like 3.4, the amount's at 77%, and I pushed these high bands up a little more. So that's just kind of how I did that. And then I have serum effects on here, adding some extra multi-band compression, and also a hyper dimension to give it some more presence in there, to give it more of like a spacey sound per se. You could add a chorus on there and get the same effect and play with the dry wet a little bit. And you can add like maybe another OTT or maybe a standard multi-band compressor and like just turn up the gain a little bit, and you'll get a pretty similar effect. So that's everything. The only thing that's missing that I haven't told you guys about is the vocals. Yeah, I had to do a little bit of vocals. So ECCO2K, if you're watching this right now, thank you so much for making this song. You're amazing. I seriously love you and this song, and please keep making art. I respect what you do.
People stare at me, I don't care at all. Oh my god, fuck you. Everywhere I go, they look at me wrong. Oh my god, what the fuck are you looking at? Every day gotta stay strong. Trust me, it gets so much worse. Something feels so wrong, something feels so wrong. It's the way I look around. Wanna slow, but I'm not so hard. Let the peroxide stay gone. Don't come around here, me, I might get robbed. Chop off your body parts. Chop his arm off and take his watch.
And that's it. That's ECCO2K's Peroxide. If you want me to go over the vocals, I'll do that in another video that you'll see linked up here. Once again, my name is Strider. I love doing tutorials and stuff. I also make music, so be sure to follow me on SoundCloud. Be sure to follow me on Spotify. I have some links in the description to that. Also follow me on Twitch. I'm going to be doing some live production streams. I might even do like sound design or other tutorials or recreating different types of beats. So be sure to check me out as well on Twitch. Give me a follow. The link is in the description. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and comment and subscribe and check out more of my videos. Thanks so much. Have an awesome day and good luck out there. I'll see you.